I spent a day visiting what people say are the best skincare shops in London, and I'm going to take you inside all of them, give you my honest take, and then rank them from worst to best at the end of the video. So if you ever make the trip, you know exactly where to go and what to skip. We're talking Harrods, Selfridges, Cupid, Liberty, Pure Soul, and SpaceNK. And it also led to me buying all of this. If we haven't met, hello, I'm Kirk, a skincare enthusiast studying to be an advanced facialist because I'm that goddamn enthusiastic. And the focus on this channel is helping people in their 30s look less tired and fresher without overcomplicating things. If you just want a simple, easy to follow routine, there's a completely free, unsponsored guide linked down below that's easy to follow and just tells you the best affordable products to select and what to do without any hype that will start delivering results from 6 weeks of consistency. All right, let's get into it. First up, we're going to talk SpaceNK, and we're talking about the SpaceNK just outside of Covent Garden. Now, obviously, you hear a lot about SpaceNK. I live in Portsmouth, and we haven't got one in Portsmouth. And I've been to the one in Southampton, but it was a while ago. But I was actually a bit blown away by how much I really enjoyed going into SpaceNK. So as I walked in, I was instantly greeted by all of these different shelves, perfectly curated with loads of different skincare brands, some of which I'd never heard of before. Felt really warm, welcoming. And the staff in there were great. I spoke to a lovely lady in there for probably about 10-15 minutes. I told her what I was up to and how I've been documenting what I've been learning about skincare online. And we spent ages chatting about different products that men buy, particularly in their 30s. She also showed me some really interesting products from Biossance, I think that's how you pronounce it, which she was telling me about and how that they tend to be more seen as approachable, particularly for men or people which aren't as familiar with skincare. I was also told about Sarah Chapman, who I'd never heard of before, if I'm honest, but she's this incredible, she's got a big reputation in London as this brilliant esthetician or facialist, using lots of advanced treatments. She's got her own skincare line, which is very expensive, I thought. I couldn't really afford it. I didn't want to spend too much money on it because I've obviously got my own set routine that I'm following. But having spoken with the lady there, who was, as I say, so helpful, I ended up buying this from Sarah Chapman. I don't know if you can see it. I know it kind of looks like a medieval torture device, but it's actually a face massager. Whether it's worth 40 quid, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I reckon if you shopped around, you could probably get something cheaper online. But I like using it, and obviously because I've been training to be a facialist or an esthetician, a lot of the massage techniques that I'm learning and practicing at the moment are replicated with this. And also what I really liked about it is that all of these incredible skincare products and lines you can just grab and actually try out and use. I tried loads of the different Medicate, vitamin C's, and was playing around with those. The backs of my hands looked incredible by the time I walked out of the shop. So who's SpaceNK actually for? I'd say if you're someone that's serious about your skincare and not too worried about budget, it's a good place to pick up some different products. What I would say though is because you go in there and there's just all of these amazing skincare products surrounding you everywhere, if you're anything like me, you just want to grab and buy them all. And I think it's almost an exercise in restraint in that you've got to go in with a very clear idea that, of course, it's always consistency and using the same right products over time that deliver the results. And so whilst it can be really tempting to want to try loads of all these different stuff, I think practicing a bit of restraint and having a clear idea before you go in, but going in with a view to learn and to chat to the people there. But yeah, it was a great shot. It's not the cheapest for sure, but it's good. So yeah, that was my take on SpaceNK, and I was a bit surprised actually, considering it's a chain that you get outside of London, just how good it actually was. Next one I'm going to show you is Cupid. So I've been on Cupid's website quite a few times and obviously shopped around there. I don't think I've actually ever ordered anything from them because it's typically cheaper ordering from Stalvana or Olive Young, Global, when you get all the sale discounts and things. But I wanted to check out and just see what it was like in the flesh. And it was a shop that was good to go into. It was very Instagrammable, I guess, was probably the right word to use. I haven't really experienced many shops like that before, to be honest with you, where you go in and everything just looked, or the design and the interior, I guess is the right word, all look very thought through. It wasn't intimidating, and I didn't feel intimidated. I don't often feel intimidated though, so Maybe that's something to think about, or I don't know, but I mean, it was definitely very Instagrammy. Staff in there was super helpful. I've done a lot of research into Korean skincare, and obviously I've got my Korean skincare guides, which if you haven't seen, they're popping up here and be linked down in the description. And to be honest with you, there was nothing I found out from chatting to the guys in Cupid that I didn't already know. But I'm unusual in that, of course, I've done a lot of research into this and really like Korean skincare. But again, it was just nice to see it all there. And I think if you're passing by, it's definitely worth popping into if you want to grab something. As I say, the prices, you can get them better. The prices are better online. So if you're really budget conscious, that might be something worth thinking about. So did I actually buy anything in there? Yes. So I always think I really like Korean face masks. And whilst I never think a face mask is essential, for me, they're a nice thing to use when I'm sitting down, chilling out in front of the TV, or just fancy something a bit extra. Obviously, because it's an occlusive barrier, that occlusion drives the skincare products very slightly deeper into your epidermis, and which is the top layer of your skin. And so when I was taking a look at the big selection, and one that I came across that I thought was interesting was, let me show it to you guys. It was these ones here. So they're the Biodance Rejuvenating Caviar PDRN face masks. Now, I haven't tried them yet, so what they're actually like, I don't know. Biodance have got a red face mask that I really like. I like the way of when I use it overnight, how it looks. It's called the Bio Collagen Mask. And so when I saw this one, I thought I'd give it a go. As I say, I haven't actually tried it yet, but it's got PDRN in it. So, if you want me to let you know what that one's actually like, let me know. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one, and I say they had these great selection of face masks. Okay, price. I think it's a good store if you know a bit. If you're already skincare literate and you want to try out or experiment with a K-beauty type product and want to grab something, or if you've seen a viral product or something and you want to try it out. But if you're looking for a well thought through structured routine that actually delivers results, I don't think it's the kind of place that you could walk into and then walk out with the best routine that you'd get. I think you'd probably get that from us talking with the staff at SpaceNK, to be honest, or some of the other options that we're going to come on to a bit later on. So I think it's a good store, but it's probably one to grab something interesting and try out, rather than one where you get a fully functioning routine that's really going to drive results if you're in your 30s. Next up, Pure Soul, which is on Carnaby Street in London, which is one of my favourite streets, I think, in the whole entire world. Carnaby Street, if you don't know, haven't come across it, is a very cool, interesting street. Got lots of pop-up stores. The Rolling Stones have got one of their stores there. I walked into what I thought was quite a cool record store. I was chatting with some of the people there and said, "Go, you got loads of Jack White LPs and vinyls on the side." And it turns out it's Jack White's store. He's got one there and I think one in Chicago, they said. So Carnaby is this really infamous, I think it was really popular in the 60s as a very trendy, fashionable place in London. But in terms of Pure Soul itself, I didn't like it as much. So whereas Cupid, all of the staff were really approachable, I found in Pure Soul it was slightly busier, but they weren't crazy busy. But they just didn't seem to really want to chat to you or share any advice as much as some of the others. They also didn't like you filming, so I walked in and literally within about, I don't know, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, someone came up to me and told me not to film. Only store on the list where that happened. I haven't marked it down or that hasn't influenced my view at all, but just, I don't know, there was something about it. They had a great selection and you could try all of the products. I managed to find somebody who I started chatting to and didn't give them much of an option in terms of just asking a loads of questions. I found out about, it'll flash up on the screen now, an alternative to retinol. So, of course, retinol being an exfoliator. Apparently, some people find retinols, vitamin A's too harsh on the skin. And so they directed me to a Korean PDRN that's quite popular. That was something I learned that I definitely wouldn't have found about from online. So I thought I'd share that. I prefer Cupid out of the two, to be honest with you. Again, they've got they're different how they look. One was pink, one was blue, but they have a very Instagrammable aesthetic. And to me, I think their whole ethos of the shops was very much around that. See something nice, grab it. They've got a good selection of lots of different Korean skincare products. So if you want to see some of them in the flesh and try them out on yourself, great for that. Obviously, it's in Carnaby Street. But as I say, I think if you're trying to develop a well thought through routine, my experience is there's better places to go. But you won't get such a big selection of Korean skincare. So Personally, out of the two, if I was going to buy Korean skincare, I'd go to Cupid over Pure Soul, but there's not a huge amount in it. Yeah. Next up is the infamous, I think the world famous Liberty, or Liberty of London. Now, this Liberty is in a Carnaby Street, which is this, as I said, this really cool street with all these different, really interesting stores and just lots of stuff going on. But if Carnaby Street is cool, in my opinion, Liberty is the pinnacle, the crown jewel of Carnaby Street. From the outside, it's this really old world Tudor building. It was featured quite heavily in the Disney Cruella film that came out a couple of years ago, and it's shown as this really cool, fashionable, interesting place. But honestly, inside, it was incredible. I think I heard someone say that it was originally a chip hull or something that they've turned into this store. But it doesn't feel gimmicky, and everything in there is really, really curated. And I didn't feel intimidated at all in any way. All of the staff couldn't do enough to help you. And a lot of the staff and the people working behind the counters were trained estheticians. So as I say, at the moment, I'm studying the level 2, 3, and 4 facial skincare and esthetician courses. And that here in the UK, and by the end of that, I can do microneedling and chemical peels and all of those types of things. And I was so surprised by just the level of knowledge all of the people and the staff behind the store at Liberty had. I mean, sure, there was a bit of an element that they were trying to sell you things, but it was definitely through a lens of sales as service, and they couldn't do enough to help you and just guide you. I didn't buy anything in there for probably about the first 40 minutes and went around talking to loads of different people. And there was no problem at all that I didn't buy anything. They had these incredible machines. So I got my face analyzed. First time I've ever had it done. And I was on the Sunday Riley store, again with a trained esthetician. So I had my face analyzed. I had about 8 or 9 different pictures of it. And then off the back of that, they were giving some insights about pores that I've got and where I got fine lines, unseen sun damage, all of these types of things. And of course, then they did talk about some of the products that could help. But what I thought was really interesting, and this was on the Sunday Riley counter, the focus was very much on the ingredients and how they can help you rather than specific products. I think I probably took the conversation that way a little bit, if I'm honest. I think if you just went in there and said, help me look a bit younger, fresher, better, whatever it is you're after, they could definitely just say this, that, bish, bash, bosh, and you're done. But because obviously I wanted to geek out a little bit on the skincare ingredients, conversation went that way, and yeah, they were really, really helpful. I had a great selection. There was Skin Rocks, there was Trini London. I really like the Trini London area, actually. I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty cool. Aesop was there. Loads and loads of just really interesting brands. Kiehl's had a bit of a display, not a massive one. Got mixed feelings about Kiehl's, if I'm honest. But yeah, Liberty is known for being really curated, and 100% it was. And everything felt really accessible. It also felt really cozy. So even though you're in obviously one of the big heavy hitter department stores that London's got to offer with this incredible selection, it all just felt really cozy. I also found out about a really interesting, more high-end luxury brand I never heard of before. It was called and I probably can't pronounce it. Sir Onkritsev, the guy behind the counter, again, so helpful. I was telling him what I was up to. He actually gave me a free facial for about 30 minutes so I could try out some of the products, which I didn't expect. I mean, it's pricey. Don't get me wrong, it's really pricey for the ingredients, and I think you can probably, if you're just looking for the results, get just as good results elsewhere. But in terms of quite a nice luxury high-end skincare brand, they were great. I was also told about the best-selling lip balm in Liberty, and I tried that as part of when he was showing me all of the products, and I did actually go on and buy that because I really liked it. So you can see that here now. It was £39. So, I mean, for a lip balm, I think it's probably quite expensive, but it wasn't crazy. £39 is, of course, about 45, 50 US dollars. It's really thick, occlusive, I think kind of Aquaphor or Vaseline type texture. But yeah, it's best-selling lip balm in Liberty. Plumps the lips very slightly, apparently. But yeah, I like that, and that's one of my favorite purchases that I got throughout the day. So yeah, that was cool. I also spent some time on the Dermalogica stand. So after I'd spoken with the guys at Sunday Riley, they were telling me that even though personally I use an oil and also a water-based cleanser in the evening and was using a water-based cleanser in the morning, because I got some pores, I got combination skin, they were suggesting that maybe I should actually use an oil and water-based cleanser both in the morning in the shower and in the evening, which I thought was interesting. And another product that I found out about that I would have never found out before was Dermalogica's Oil to Foam Total Cleanser. So I really like Dermalogica as a brand. They're very science focused. I think they run in a similar lane to The Ordinary, but maybe a bit more slightly higher end, I'd say. Whereas The Ordinary is all about affordability. I think Dermalogica is very much a science-driven brand that focused on results, but a slightly more premium price point. What I thought was interesting is speaking to a lot of the estheticians and dermatologists. Dermalogica always comes up a lot in conversation, which I think tells you something. But yeah, this product here, what I liked about it is that this is an oil to foam cleanser. So it combines both the oil and also the water cleanser in one. I haven't tried it yet, so what it's like, I'll let you guys know later if you want, and if it is actually a recommendation, but I thought it was something I would try. It wasn't cheap for soap, but it was £56, so that's, what's that? I don't know, about 65, 70 US dollars. So it's not the cheapest cleanser or soap that you're going to find, and I say I haven't used it yet, so what it's actually like, I can't comment. But I was really interested in the idea of combining that oil and water-based cleansing step into one. And so I want to try it out to see whether it's actually something that's worth recommending if you've got the budget, or whether it's a waste of time. But given the fact that, as I say, I've got apparently with still quite pronounced pores despite doing everything I'm doing, I thought that was an interesting thing to try out. But yeah, it just, Liberty, there's something about it. It's a real, I think we're really lucky to have it in London. It's got a special feel to it. It feels very unique, very curated. I think if I ever had a skincare line or anything, that would be a great to aim or aspire to have it stocked. But I just really liked Liberty and the feel. And if I'm honest, it's definitely a place I would head back to time and time again if in London. Next up is another heavy hitter, the infamous, I think world famous Selfridges. I think it was probably the biggest skincare haul or place that I went to. Harrods was pretty close, which I'll come on to a bit later, but it was between Selfridges and Harrods in terms of just overall size. So as I say, Liberty had a lot of spaces and stuff for you to see, but when you walked into Selfridges, it just was this expansive marketplace of different skincare products everywhere as far as the eye could see. It was huge. Lots of different products. When I was there, it felt a little bit clinical. It was full of different areas and stalls and settings, and just people selling and showing you all of these different skincare. I've done a lot of traveling. I've been lucky enough to do that, and it reminded me of some of the big marketplaces that you see in places like India or Marrakesh, which obviously was a lot more higher end. So it felt a little bit clinical, but very high end. But just as far as the eye could see, everything was skincare or talking about skincare, which obviously, if you like that, is amazing. Then I was walking around, I found a pharmacy, and I went into the pharmacy and asked them, do you offer Tretinoin? Can I get a prescription here or speak to someone and get one? And I couldn't. And I thought that was pretty interesting, that in what I assume is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest areas of skincare in all of the UK, you couldn't get Tretinoin. And of course, as we all know, Tretinoin is seen as that industry gold standard along with SPF for healthy aging. They were all very much focused on their specific brands there. So if you're trying to create and build your own routine, it's almost a bit like a lucky dip. Whoever you end up speaking with, you then start getting insights and sharing some things. But I think if you know what you're looking for and you want to experiment a bit more, it's a good place. But it's just so big. I think you'd get a more personalized, curated experience, which is more focused on you at Liberty or probably at SpaceNK, to be honest with you. But as I say, Selfridges was big, expansive, and there was just a lot there. I'm sure if you want samples, I think it's probably a good place to go for samples or free samples. And I think if you chat to them, I didn't do that a lot just because I was a bit short on time. But I think if you're looking for samples, I reckon it's a good place to go for them. So yeah, Selfridges, great, staff are helpful. When I was looking at the prices, there was nothing special. You're not going to get a bargain there. So it's big, it's impressive, but yeah, a little bit clinical, I would say. Yeah, so that was my take on Selfridges, which brings us on to the world famous, and I know this one is world famous, institution that is Harrods. Now, of course, Harrods is known for luxury and is almost a British institution in West London, in Knightsbridge, not very far from Mayfair, which is the pinnacle of luxury in a very expensive, well thought of part of London. So I went in there thinking this place is obviously got a reputation. Let's see what it's all about. And of course, it delivers. You walk in, it's a bit more accessible than Selfridges in that it's not just this huge expensive space. Once I managed to actually find it, 'cause you have to navigate it a little bit, I got into a very large area on the ground floor with lots of different very high-end skincare products. Again, I started speaking with some of the staff there, really, really helpful. They shared lots of insights. They were quite well trained in terms of knowing and understanding about skincare products, and walked around the skincare hall on the ground floor. And there was definitely lots of different brands to experience. I also recently watched a James Welsh video talking about Dr. Barbara Sturm. And so when I saw the counter there, I was interested and took a look. Ended up getting my skin analyzed again on the Dr. Barbara Sturm counter. I gotta say, comparing that to the Sunday Riley Liberty experience, it was good, but I think the other one was better at Sunday Riley. That one felt a lot more clinical and focused on me and my skin health, whereas Dr. Barbara Sturm I was told a lot about their philosophy of not using vitamin A's and retinoids, and how it was very much all about calming the skin, which sounds great on paper, of course, but how do I describe it? It was it's very expensive. Her products there, was some of them are 300-400 quid for a single serum, and I haven't got that kind of money. So that was the ground floor. I also found out about another floor upstairs in Harrods, I think on the 3rd or 4th floor. I went up and down on the escalators, which you should be able to see now, which are these incredible Egyptian elevators, and then found my way to another section, which had, I'd say, the more accessible, or almost like what you'd find in terms of like a SpaceNK type skincare. Still higher end. It's not a drugstore, but there was Dermalogica, Medicate, the brand I can't pronounce, the Hungarian one that I mentioned that I found out about in Liberties, on Kritva, or however you say it. But as I say, so you had a lot more of those type ones up there. What was interesting, there's only one staff member on the floor, and there was loads and loads of people there. So I did eventually manage to grab some time with her, and she was really knowledgeable and was giving me some really interesting insights. She knows my skincare routine, which was good. But like I say, there was only one person there for covering a really large area. So maybe it was the time of day. I don't know. It was about, by the time I got there, it was about 5:30 as such in the evening. Obviously, it goes on. It's open much later than that, Harrods. Yeah, it was good. It was nice. There was lots of different interesting brands there. And there is something about shopping at Harrods and just wandering around and experiencing it that I don't think you can replicate. I put it up there with Liberty in terms of a world-class experience. And I think it maybe just reflects who you are and where you are in terms of life. I liked Harrods a lot. Don't get me wrong. If I had lots of money, I think it would be a great place to go to. But I don't think for me, it wouldn't be my best place. I'll come on to the rankings in a minute. The service was brilliant. They were really helpful, sharing expertise. I think it's the kind of place where if you got the money and you want pigs to fly, they'll do everything they can to make pigs fly. I don't know how that relates to skincare, but hopefully you kind of get what I mean. I also got to say, so when it comes to really high-end skincare, whether we're talking £300-400 of serum or a bottle or whatever it is, I'll be honest, I don't know much about that. So you can get the results, and I have got the results for a fraction of the price. So I think if you really have got a lot of disposable income, it's something that you could experience. I haven't, so as I say, I can't really honestly give you my an accurate comparison. But for me, normal guy, I think there's definitely other places. This one flashing up now, it costs about £400, I think it was, £300 or £400 just for a 30-day supply, which I'm sure is good. But I've got products from The Ordinary and also Neod during the sale, which of course is a slightly higher end brother or sister of The Ordinary, for a fraction of the price. Which brings us on to the ranking. So I'm now going to run through relatively quickly and just take you through from what I'm going to rank 6th in my least favorite all the way up to number 1. I actually am quite surprised that when I was thinking about this on the train ride home and obviously preparing for this video, what I actually decided and the rankings I gave were actually quite surprising and necessarily not what I expected. So in 6th, it might come as a surprise, it might not, it was Pure Soul. I love Korean skincare. I think it's great and I really, really like it. But there was just something about the vibe or the feel for me that just didn't really click. It was okay. That was it. To be honest with you, I love Carnaby Street. I'm going to be back at Carnaby Street and I pop into Pure Soul again. So it's not like I don't like it, but for me, it wasn't as good as the others. 5th place is going to go to Selfridges. So Selfridges was massive, but it was almost for me a little bit too overwhelming. You just walked into this great expansive hall. I didn't really quite know where to go, how to find the products that I was looking for, wanted to compare something. The staff were really helpful and really nice when I spoke with them. So, and then, like I say, I've never seen so much skincare being all sold and in one single location before. I would guess, and if anyone actually knows what the biggest shop is for skincare in the world, let me know. But I would think that one is definitely up there. I think you could definitely get a routine there, a pretty good routine, obviously, because they've got so much. But I don't know. In fourth place, we've got Skin Cupid. I like the shop. I really like the staff. They had a great selection. The prices were okay. Again, I think you can do better online. I don't know if that's really fair to judge it like that, but they definitely had a lot there. Staff were helpful. They had time to chat with you and you could wander around and it felt quite good. It looked great. And that's why it's fourth. Okay, third place, maybe controversially, is Harrods. So again, Harrods is an institution. It's not going anywhere. I don't want it to go anywhere. I also love the fact that you could wander around and see all of these really expensive and exclusive brands, and just it soak it up and see. For me, I just think with all of that said, unless you have got you're playing in that mega bucks, money's no object, or you've got £2,000 or £3,000, $3,000 or $4,000 to spend on skincare, then I would imagine Harrods really comes into its own because of all of these really high-end exclusive brands. But as I said, I don't know enough about that. And so when I was looking at Kiehl's, Dermalogica, Malin& Goetz, and some of the other brands that you wouldn't typically see in a typical shop, definitely in Portsmouth, that was brilliant and it was great and I loved seeing it all. I mean, as I say, I got this new job in London. I won't be I'll pop into Harrods now and again, but I don't think it'll be where I'll primarily shop. Which leaves us with two left to talk about, SpaceNK and Liberty. Now, both of these shops I really, really liked. I almost want to say loved. I loved just how knowledgeable all the staff were, and both of them they couldn't do enough to help you. SpaceNK was very, very curated. Some of the brands, there's stuff like Skin Rocks by Caroline Hirons, would maybe just have one single shelf somewhere in the store, so you could really see and experience a lot of different products. And I loved how you could just grab stuff, try it out, experience it, and there was nobody pestering you. And then as soon as you wanted to speak with someone, you absolutely could. Liberty, I loved the layout. I loved how you could wander around, or the fabric. Again, how knowledgeable the staff were. There, the staff were actually trained estheticians, about 3 or 4 that I spoke to. And again, that service was just top tier. They couldn't do enough to help you. So it was tough between these two, but I'm going to say my number one, my favorite one was Liberty, and just in second place was SpaceNK. My reason is as follows. Liberty just really feels special. I think the fact that it's obviously got the Tudor building, it's really curated. There's something about Liberty that makes it special, and an experience that I think you could probably only get in London. Just the feeling you get and just being able to see and experience all of those brands. But SpaceNK is incredible. As I say, I haven't really been to many before, so I was a bit blown away just because I know it's a chain, and in my head, a Liberty, a Selfridges, a Harrods would be phenomenal. And they were. Don't get me wrong, they really were. But SpaceNK, considering it's a chain, you just had access to so many different brands. Again, the stuff, the fact that I just spent so long in there and could try it all out, it really was. And I'm talking about the one in Covent Garden. I'm assuming they're all the same. That was great. That's my ranking of the different skincare shops that I visited in London. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did I misjudge any? Did I miss any out? Let me know. I'm obviously going to be up there a bit more, so if there's any others to check out, let me know. And if you like this video, YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy watching the one up here. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.